Hello, Democrats. As you know, I am filling in for our illustrious leader, Alicia Andrews, on today. Alicia and our Oklahoma DNC team have been in Washington, D.C. all week. I'm sure that you all are just having a great time looking at her post on Facebook, as well as those from our DNC committee woman, Kaylin Free. I am just so anxious to get to Washington, D.C. to see the portraits of the Obamas that were unveiled this week. And to think our leaders, our Oklahoma Democrats, were there during the week to see them hanging in the White House. Well, they will be there for eternity. Hey, Charles, Wayne, we had a great time with Danielle and Robbie earlier this week. Robbie filled in on yesterday, Danielle on the day before. So I'm going to continue with some of the things that they talked about, mainly voter apathy, voter registration, getting out the vote on November the 8th. But I would like to start with just talking about a couple of events that I think that you should know. And I want to say that, of course, I am the president of the Oklahoma Federation of Democratic Women. So I do all that I can to promote the activities of our individual clubs. And mainly, I'm always interested in growing those clubs as well as adding additional clubs. So if there's anyone new with us today that is interested in working with the Oklahoma Federation of Democratic Women to elect Democrats, then we want to hear from you. And you see our email address there on the screen, ofdw@okdemocrats.org. And we would love to hear from you because we would like a women's club in every county in Oklahoma, but especially in those counties where we have active county organizations. And I'll start with that. We have in Carter County, which is the Ardmore area, for those of you that don't know, they will be having an event later this next week on Tuesday, September the 13th. They will be having hosting the Federation of Democratic Women and the Carter County Democrats will be hosting a fundraiser luncheon for Kendra Horn, our candidate for the U.S. Senate. That event will be on Tuesday, September the 13th from 11 to 12:30 at the Operations Center at the American Nation Bank. So for those of you in Southeast Oklahoma, or for those of you that may want to motor down from the capital city, that will be a great fundraising event hosted by the Carter County Democrats and the Carter County Federation of Democratic Women. But let me back up. On tomorrow, it's not a federation event. Well, it is a federation event, but it's not the Women's Federation. We will have the annual Oklahoma Veterans Pancake Breakfast. That event starts at 8 o'clock, but I listened to Danielle earlier this week, and I heard her say that if you get there by 9 a.m., you won't miss a thing. So I'll see you about 9, Danielle. And I'm so excited. I was telling unfortunately, my brother has to come to town from Texas tomorrow. And so I was explaining to him why I wasn't able to attend Reverend Baker's funeral with him. And I sent him a graphic of the Veterans Pancake Breakfast. And he said, "Great. I'm leaving Dallas about 6:30, and that's where I'm having breakfast with the veterans." My brother is a Navy vet, and he is really involved in his community with veteran activities. So I'll get to introduce him to a bunch of you all tomorrow. And then, of course, on Sunday, I will be motoring with Debbie Hope Downing and my cousin Angie. We're going over to Tulsa for the Just Desserts, sponsored by the Tulsa Heart of the Party, Federation of Democratic Women. That event will be held at the Tulsa Historical Society, which is 2445 South Peoria, from 2 to 4. So it's always such a wonderful event, such a wonderful venue. And I always look forward to it. And I think that if you would come over to Tulsa with us, you would have a great time too. And my last event that I want to talk about is right here in the capital city. South Oklahoma City Federation of Democratic Women will be once again this year hosting an evening of bingo on Monday, September the 19th. And I know that that's a big hit here in the Oklahoma City area. So it's at the Teamsters from 5:30 to 8 o'clock on Monday, September the 19th. So mark your calendar for that event as well. So enough about events. Let's talk about the white elephant in the room, voter apathy. You know, I attended an event last night, a coalition meeting with Joshua Harris Till, the Joshua Harris Till campaign for Congressional District 5. And one of the things that Joshua mentioned is something that I've heard quite a bit in the last few months. And that's that Oklahoma isn't a red state. We're not a Republican state. We are an apathetic state. You know, the United States is one of the lowest voting nations when you talk about the free world. And Oklahoma is the worst state for voter turnout and voter activity out of all the 50 states and the territories. We are the worst. We are just beat down because of what we have allowed to happen to our state government. We have people running our state government that are not concerned with the welfare of women, children, families, the working people. They're just not concerned about that. They're concerned with lining their own profit pockets, increasing the profits of corporations, and lowering the taxes of corporations, and unfortunately destroying public education as we know it. And it's not enough to talk about what the ills are. We must have a plan for combating this voter apathy that is an outgrowth of what we have had to put up with over the last few years. You know, I'm old enough that I remember when Democrats were in control of state government. I remember what it was like and the benefits that we had as working men and women, as women and families, the middle class. I remember how great it was to be an Oklahoman and live in Oklahoma. I remember when our congressional delegation was Democrats and how I could go to Washington, D.C., and I might not meet with all of our representatives, but I would certainly meet with ours. Back then, we were CD6, not CD5. And because of this voter apathy, we lost in 2020, 2000, I'm sorry, the 6th congressional district. And so now we only have 5. And as you know, for this last year, the Republicans in our state government have tried to hack up our state, or they have hacked up our state to dilute further the strength of the Democratic Party, of the Democratic voters. And why? Because they know that Democrats deliver for the middle class, for women, for children, that they believe that unions should be in every workplace. This is why they've carved up CD5 and put South Oklahoma City in CD3 and done all kind of other damage to dilute our democratic power. But we know that Democrats deliver, and we have a responsibility to work not only with our candidates, but with the Oklahoma Democratic Party and our auxiliary organizations like the Oklahoma Federation of Democratic Women to do all we can to combat the voter apathy that we are experiencing here in Oklahoma. We need to meet the voters where they are. You know, Tuesday, September 20th is National Voter Registration Day. You know, I keep asking the question, what are we doing? You know, I know what, I don't know what we're doing, but we need to do something. We need to have targeted registration drives. We need people that are willing to stand up and say, yes, I'm a Democrat and I want you to vote. You don't have to be a Democrat. You just need to vote Democratic because Democrats deliver. It's just that simple. You know, right now, last week, the president signed an executive order to give relief to our millions and millions of children and grandchildren that are experiencing, you know, financial ruin to some degree because of student debt. President Biden has a plan. He implemented that plan, and now the Republicans are working double time to undercut that plan. They're coming up with all kind of reasons, and they're putting all kind of noise in the ears of the electorate to make them think that their vote does not matter. Their vote matters. Just ask here in Oklahoma County, our current county commissioner, District 1, Carrie Blument. Just ask Carrie if one vote counts. Just ask Carrie why we need to be in the community. We need to be meeting the people where they are. We need to be creating opportunities for the people to come to us to meet our client, our candidates, because we have wonderful candidates. As I've said, this is the perfect opportunity, almost a perfect storm. We have excellent candidates up and down the ticket, from the courthouse all the way to Congress. We have excellent, qualified, competent candidates that care about the people, who will be here for us, who will answer our call. But it's up to us. These candidates cannot do it alone. They need us. They need us to talk with our families, our church members, anyone that we know. We need to be having voter registration drives in our churches, at our community meetings, every day up until October the 14th. October the 14th is the last day in Oklahoma that you can register to vote on November 8th. Sad, isn't it? We have some of the worst voter election laws in the whole country. They have tried to suppress our votes, to kill our hope. But we can stand up. We can band together. And we can make a difference. We can make a difference. And I started a timer, but I didn't turn it on. So I didn't start it. I set up a timer because I know that I can just go on and on and on when I talk about what is going on in our communities. But it's up to us. Our candidates cannot do it alone. There are so many things that we can do. We can make phone calls for these candidates from our homes. We can fill out postcards for them from our homes. We can join them as they go door to door canvassing, either lit drops or actually knocking and talking to voters. We can be drivers. That's what I will be doing. I will be driving candidates because Lord knows if I start walking, it's not much longer that I'll be laying out in the ground somewhere. But I can drive candidates, and you can too. There's so much. As Alicia says, find a candidate, find two candidates. Just get busy. Start now with these candidates. On tomorrow, after we finish with the Veterans Breakfast, I am going to join Greg Clott and Carrie Hicks as they go on a door-to-door drive. It's the least that I can do. I know what Carrie has done for us. I know what Greg will do for us. And so I have a responsibility to myself, to my community, to these clients that are putting candidates that are putting everything on the line for us. We owe it to them. And so I will be out with them on tomorrow afternoon. And I have a plan to help other candidates as well. Not just my time, not just my talent, not just my treasure, but everything that I can do for this excellent slate of candidates for the next 60 odd days. That's what I'm going to be doing. And that's what I'm appealing to you to do as well. I'm sure that Danielle, Robbie, and Alicia will agree with me that there's much to do. We have the power. We can exert our power, and we can take back control of the Oklahoma legislature, of the governor's office, and in Congress as well. So I want to just say, have a very fruitful and enjoyable weekend, and let's get busy. Engage, educate, empower, get out the vote. And I want to just end with a quote from our dear President Obama. He said this in 2020: the consequences of anybody here not turning out and doing everything you can to get your friends, neighbors, families to turn out, the consequences of you staying home would be profoundly dangerous to this country, to our democracy. That was in 2020. It is even more so now in 2022. Let's get busy.